My name is Sister Lucy Blysko. It is a Polish name because I come from a Polish family.
Why did you become a Sister of St. Joseph?
I had the Sisters of St. Joseph in high school, and I was friendly with some of them, and I liked the way that they talked with people, the way they were teaching us, their kindness, their time for prayer, because they would tell us we're going to prayer now. So that appealed to me, and I thought I would like to live that way too. And I didn't feel like I wanted to get married at that time, or any at that time. Here I am. And so I was attracted to them and the work that they did and the way that they lived their lives.
That's amazing.
So, how did you choose
Your religious name?
your religious name? Well, I didn't choose it. It was chosen for me. When we became novices, we got the habit, remember the long black habit and the veil and all that? We don't wear that now. And that's when we got our religious name.
Okay.
And so they said that I would be called Sister Rita Mary, and it's one word. So when people said to me, now what is your name? I would say Rita Mary, one word.
Question 3, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies? Well, I love to read. I like to pray in the chapel. I like to go for a walk every day and enjoy the outside. And I like to help people. If I see one of the older sisters, struggling with a cane and maybe carrying a bag of something, I would approach her and say, can I help you carry that bag someplace? So that gave me joy. It still gives me joy to do that.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, you're really nice. You also do Spanish.
Oh, yes, I go to Spanish class because my niece, who is my sister's daughter, is getting married in Spain.
Question 4, how would you describe life in the sister community?
Life in the sister community. Well, we are a community, so we are together as one in a sense. So we all go to Mass together every day, which is what somebody said to me, I guess the person in charge said, we need you to help us to be a sacristan. That means to sit up in the chapel, to be sure everything, all the altar cloths, everything is clean and ironed, and everything is ready for the priest for Mass. And it also means lighting the candles on the altar and taking care of the chapel so that it is ready for Mass. So I love that. I feel that is really a privilege.
Question 5, how do you think women today can show empowerment?
We can show empowerment by the lives that we live, and we can empower other people.
Sister Frances, Frances, Price, Price.
All right, question 1, why did you become a Sister of St. Joseph?
Well, first of all, the sisters taught me in grammar school, and I had a very dear friend of mine. Her name was Sister Frances Marguerite, and she was going to Puerto Rico to the missions that we had at that time. And I used to go to the 6:30 Mass every morning, and I used to meet her at the coming out of the Mass. And I had a wonderful dog, and I can't remember his name, but he was a wonderful companion, and my mother was happy that we had him because she was afraid of me walking in the streets at 6:30 in the morning,
Yeah, so you became it because of your close friend. She inspired you. Question 2, how did you choose your name?
I didn't choose it. It was my mother and father. They chose it. My religious name at that time, which was 55 or something years, I'm not sure of the number, with Sister Stephen Francis, because my father was Brother Stephen in the Third Order of St. Francis. It's a third order of church in the church. So when I entered September the 8th, 1950, and my father died 2 weeks later.
Aww.
He died very suddenly. He had leukemia, but he died very suddenly.
That's so sad. Question 3. What is it like living in the sister community at Sacred Heart?
Here?
Yes.
It's wonderful. The sisters are wonderful to one another, and they're very caring. What else can I tell you?
What are your hobbies?
Right now I don't have too many hobbies because I have, spinal stenosis. I find it very hard to walk and to, be active, but I'm trying my best.
Yes. What did you like to do when you were first starting out in this?
Oh, I love teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I taught first grade, second grade. I taught kindergarten for about 14 years.
Wow.
And I taught 7th and 8th grade, and I taught all the years of high school. And I taught, that's kind of, like pretty much what I did in my religious life.
My name is Sister Leonard Marie Lacinci.
Why did you decide to become a Sister of St. Joseph?
I've always wanted to be a Sister of St. Joseph from my very early years. I never went to Catholic schools. I don't know, maybe at that time, at that age, I had a romantic idea about it. I don't know. I can't say what was one reason that I wanted to be it, but I knew that's what I wanted to be.
What is the proudest moment of your career?
Oh, I don't know. I would say, well, maybe I could say, I'm not sure I would say proudest. The thing I'm happiest about, maybe, wanted to work in an orphanage, and when I entered, that's what I told the sister in charge, and that I didn't want to teach. So she said, oh, we have other things that you could do. But when I entered, the sister that was in charge of us, the newcomers, she said to me, I know you don't want to teach. She says, but I'm assigning you to go to normal school as the other sisters were going who wanted to teach. Now at that time in 1944, everyone went to normal school, public school, teachers that were being trained for this public schools or Catholic schools. And then after you went through that process of normal school and you went to teach, then you went on to get your degrees. You didn't have to have the degree at that time. Before that time. So I went to normal school like everybody else. And my first day in the classroom, I loved it so much. I was so happy.
The last question. How did it feel working as a woman during the World War?
Well, it was by chance that I got to be a Rosie the Riveter. What they really needed was more manpower. And so they looked into where they could get this more manpower. Naturally, they hired older men that were not young enough to go in the service. They would try in getting women to join. But at that time, women, some of them worked outside the home, but mostly in the home. Well, they worked at very menial jobs. I worked there, and I worked on the assembly line, and I helped install the fuel line. That's pretty important. So that's what I did during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay, my name is Sister Margaret Maloney. Okay.
Question 1. Why did you decide to become a Sister of St. Joseph?
Because I went to another school from grades 1 to 5, and I had very lovely sisters there. They were very, very nice sisters. I can't say anything against any of them. But then I went to the Sisters of St. Joseph, and there was such a freedom to them. and such a happiness to them that I thought, this is where I really want to be. And I also had, as my teacher she was my teacher in 6A, 7A, and 8B, the best teacher I ever had in the whole world, Sister Francella. So that kind of sealed it for me. I belong to the Josephites.
How did you choose your name?
You mean my religious name?
Yes.
I did not choose it. Okay. As a matter of fact, I couldn't think of it for 2 days after I got it. My religious name was Zavaria. Now, what happened is, it was really for St. Francis Xavier. I had invited my 2 cousins who were Jesuits at that time, and so they gave me the name of a Jesuit saint. So that's how I got it. I did not ask for it, oh no.
How would you describe life in the sister community?
In my career, I think it's very vibrant. Even here, it's very vibrant, and I think that's what keeps us all moving and going. I'm in my 90s, and it doesn't make any difference what you are. You can plug into whatever's going on here, and they have a lot of activities for us. So you can pick and choose what you want. But I think it's like a family, and it's a very vibrant family.
My name is Sister Teresa Sweeney.
And my name is Sister Patricia Sweeney, and we're twins.
Why did you decide to become a Sister of St. Joseph?
Well, it took a while, really. I wasn't really interested in, I was interested in maybe being a teacher more than a nun. And when we graduated from grade school, we were able to think about maybe going to the novitiate, or what was the name of the...
A juniorate.
Juniorate. And I said, well, let me try that out, because initially I'm going to be a teacher, so I would go. So that's how I started. But I was never, since I was small, wanting to be a nun.
How did you choose your name?
We had a choice like of putting down 3 names if that's what you wanted to do. And so my mom and my dad and my sisters and brothers, I was very close to all of them. So I said my first choice would be Helen Patrick, because my mother's name was Helen and my father's was Patrick. But now they also told you that you may not get any of those names, but you might get another name. And so the second name that I asked for was Patricia Denise, because that would be like my dad is Patrick and I'm Patricia, and my brother Denny, and that would be that way. And so then when it was reception day and you already you just dressed in your regular clothes and all that, and then they had you go down the aisle, and then you came back dressed as if it was a wedding almost. You're going to be not married to Christ in the sense that it's a commitment to Jesus. And so you would dress like that, and all the way down the aisle, my candle started to shake. I said to myself, whatever name I get, that's going to be for the rest of my life, And I said, I hope I get these 3. And the priest that we had, his voice shook. He was a very old priest. And so when it was getting come to my turn, and Miss Patricia Sweeney will be known in religious life as Mr. Moira. I said, what is the name that guy said? I said, Tricia. So then you went to Reverend Mother. And Reverend Mother is the one that gave you the name. And so she said to me, well, sister, what is your name? And I said, tell you the truth, I'm not so sure. But since you gave me the name, maybe you could tell me. So she goes,
brother.
You have a very strong name. I said, I do? She said, yes, Sister Moira Patricia.
Oh.
Yeah, and I said, oh, thank you.
How would you describe the life in the sister community?
I would say it was very hard in the beginning, to be honest, because they never wanted us to be by ourselves, and not realizing that they were afraid we would just become one with ourselves. So I found that you have to be with this one and that one. So I found that a little hard.
The other part of it is when we did enter, it was really a very beautiful life, we were introduced to prayer and to other people that had that same yearning to give themselves completely to God. And then we had to learn how to pray and to meditate and all of that. And so that was a learning experience, you know, and all of us, Teresa included, and all of us that entered, you went with that desire to love God and to be instructed and to learn all of those things.
What were your hobbies like when you were younger or now?
I guess like when I was younger, and even now, like I'm interested in sports and stuff like that, and I like to be challenged and things like that. And in fact, when I was just a child, I guess I was 12 years old or 13, and my brothers used to play marbles. I don't know if you probably don't know what that is. When you played marbles, you had a shooter, and my brothers would be losing their marbles, and I had a pocketbook, and I had a shooter, and I used to go down with the boys, and I used to say, they'd say, "Oh, here comes Sweetie's sister, she's going to wipe us out." And I used to come back giving the marbles that I won to my two brothers. So I was better than them. And like, you know, I was kind of a very active and energetic person as a young person, and I like swimming and going to the beach and all that kind of things.